bus stop when I was going to 5th grade on the first day of school. And from 1st to 4th grade, I had gone to the local neighborhood school, which was a minute walk from our house. And as we walked to the stop, my daddy made clear one thing. Of course, he was saying, honey, I hope you have a great day at school. But he said, I want you to never be alone or go alone in the neighborhood surrounding your school. Kimberly Park, which is in East Winston-Salem in North Carolina, a predominantly black neighborhood. A rule that did not apply in my white neighborhood. I could go anywhere freely, alone. I didn't understand his concern at all, but I was equipped with my backpack, my brown paper bag lunch. I had red knee-high socks on and platform sandals with wooden bases, so they made this really big sounds, and I was tough. I was ready just to meet up just about anything. And 2 years at Kimberly Park proved to be great. I liked my teachers, and though our books were kind of dingy, and sometimes we had to share books, I liked the square brick building, but I noticed on the first day that I was attending Kimberly Ark, because the E and the R and the P were all missing. I could tell that something wasn't quite right. Why was my school, public school, in my neighborhood, well-resourced, perfectly coiffed, and this school not so? And I asked a lot of questions. I asked questions nonstop, but nobody, my parents, my church, my friends, had answers for why the separation, why the fear, why the dramatic difference in the quality between two schools less than 3 miles apart. And I eventually tucked my big questions into somewhere, stuffed them down, and accepted that my job was to stay focused on being good and success, good grades, and not to challenge the spoken and unspoken rules. So when I went to college at the University of Richmond, a well-mowed, wealthy neighborhood in Richmond, Virginia, I thought I was going to college for my success and for me. In my second year, I got exhausted by the study, party routine. So I looked in the Yellow Pages, and I found the Freedom House, a multi-service center for people who were homeless or in crisis. And I borrowed a car and I went down to the part of downtown Richmond that no student would intentionally go, the area my parents had told me not to go. And I was assigned to be Leon's GED teacher. Now, y'all, Leon was a 40-year-old, 6'1", African-American man, impeccably dressed. Impeccably dressed. In one of his 2 suits. He'd done time in prison, and he had not been able to get a job for a year because of his criminal offender record, Corey. And I'd bring really big books, and we sit at a wobbly little table with number 2 pencils and lined paper, and we'd read and study and talk, and read and study and talk. And over the years a couple of years of trips downtown to meet Leon, I learned a new story about a part of Richmond that no one would go. I learned about poverty from the inside out in a way that my well-meaning family and university did not teach. I learned to chew tobacco. That's true. I learned to rap and to listen to the prophetic words of much of rap music. And I changed my course of study to economic justice and questioned why Richmond would not build more low-income housing. Went to fraternity parties carrying table tents that said, "Don't be a sympathizer, be Indianapolis. Yes. And then eventually, after sharing a lot of stories, including a strategy, we engaged over 500 people, students, in relationships across parts of Richmond that most people didn't go. In May of my junior year, Leon and I had to say our goodbyes because he was moving further south. I dreaded it. Before we hugged goodbye for the third time, he said to me, "Cool breeze," this is what he called me. "You go off to this big old world, and you be successful. You marry a lawyer. You're all right. You live a happy life. But don't you forget about me." What he did not realize is that there was no way I could ever forget him. He had changed my life. He was my teacher, the teacher willing to answer the questions that no one else dared to. And my love for Leon busted open my world. The size of my family expanded. He gave me new questions and a quest to understand inequity. He gave me permission to question the spoken and unspoken rules. And in fact, he insisted that I must. And now before you, more than decades later, in the spirit of Leon, I invite you to open your hearts to what is possible when we really see and hear each other. To what is possible when we move out of our comfortable pews or chairs or ways of being in the world, or what we're not supposed to talk about, our habits, our communities, and we really meet each other. We tell our stories, and we really listen, or at least we practice it. And potentially, we'll get even a greater glimpse of God here tonight. So I want to ask you, will you bring your full selves here tonight and tomorrow? Yeah.